When Senator Johnson appeared today on Meet the Press, he got exactly what he deserved. But I mean, to put it bluntly, the guy had to have some kind of bravery to come on TV on a day before they do one of the most unpatriotic things possible, which is they're about to challenge the presidency of the United States that we definitely Joe Biden won. But anyhow, he appears on Meet the Press. He probably believed that Chuck Todd would be the normal or the mostly normal Chuck Todd who never ever challenges, except on a few times. Well, today he got some good pushback. I mean, I would have pushed back a bit more, but it's a pushback I think that most Americans, when they see it, would see Senator Johnson and his cabal, Ted Cruz, and all of them exactly as what they are. Demagogues, but not only demagogues, anti-patriotic folk that care nothing about the country, but do care about trying to hold on that piece of Donald Trump's vote, that it's completely irrational. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Senator Johnson, welcome back to Meet the Press. Last month, you told a newspaper in your home state that you would not object to the Electoral College certification, quote, unless something surfaced. There have been 57 cases filed by the president or his allies. Not a single court has found a single instance of fraud or any of this evidence seen as legitimate. So what has changed to suddenly put you on the side of questioning the results of this election, sir?
I would ask that all your listeners ask our critics to actually read the letter. One of the points we make is that we are not acting to thwart the democratic process. We're acting to protect it. The fact of the matter is that we have an unsustainable state of affairs in this country where we have tens of millions of people that do not view this election result as legitimate. What we're saying is we need transparency. And you do not, when you're trying to investigate wrongdoing in elections, you don't have very much time. And so what we're suggesting, let's take a look at a bipartisan commission to organize all the allegations. Certainly what I did in my hearing, it was a 3.5-hour hearing. We barely scratched the surface, but organize the allegations. Let's take off the table the ones that have been explained, but also acknowledge the problem areas that have not been explained so that we can restore confidence in our election system. This is an unsustainable state of affairs right now. Yeah. And that's all we're saying is as long as somebody's going to be objecting to this and we're going to be taking a vote, let's propose a solution in terms of transparency, investigation with the commission.
Senator, I want to quote Senator Ben Sasse for you, because what you're alleging is essentially you and your colleagues have created this controversy. So right now we are locked into a destructive, vicious circle in some ways, as you kind of outlined, which is you made an allegation that there was widespread fraud. You have failed to offer specific evidence of that widespread fraud, but you're demanding an investigation on the grounds that there are allegations of widespread fraud. So essentially, you're the arsonist here. President Trump is the arsonist here. You've started this fire, and now you're saying, whoa, look at this. Oh, my God. All these people believe what we told them because you didn't have the guts to tell the truth that this election was fair.
Chuck, this fire was started back in January of 2017. People like Mark Zaid, in his tweet, the coup has started, first of many steps, rebellion and impeachment to follow ultimately. This was started when the mainstream media dropped any pretense of being unbiased and actually chose sides during this election. This fire was started when you completely ignored, for example, our investigation of Hunter Biden. No evidence of wrongdoing there, and now we find out after the election, no, there is a fair amount of evidence to the point that we have a real FBI investigation.
Senator,
so
all right, I've had enough of hearing this.
Listen, I've had enough of this too.
No, Senator, you have spent the last 2 years. You have spent much of your time in the last 2 years carrying a lot of this crazy conspiratorial water for President Trump, whether it was the attempt to somehow blame Ukraine for the interference in the election rather than Russia. You've used your committee to sort of create the illusion of voter fraud, as you just described earlier, because there are, quote, allegations. I'm just trying to understand here, what are you doing it for? You're not trying to overturn the election, you just said. Are you simply trying to curry favor with constituents of the president? Is that what this is all about? Is this a cynical political ploy?
I'm trying to be transparent. One of the things we found out in our hearing is, the basic allegations kind of fall into three categories. I would say the first is the either violation of or lax enforcement of election law. There is voter fraud. There always is. We had one witness talk about 42,000 people voting twice in Nevada. The other issue
just
really
because
is
you
the
have
fact that
somebody say it didn't make it true.
It's easy.
Senator,
it's
none
easy.
of these allegations. Stop. You don't get to make these allegations that haven't been proven true. Here's what I don't understand. You understand how our government was set up. The reason we have a judiciary is because partisans like yourself weren't going to be trusted by the public to decide who won or lost an election. Let me ask you this. Who carried the state of Wisconsin?
Vice President Biden has won by 20,000 votes. But there are also issues in Wisconsin. We are dismissing the concerns of tens of millions of Americans. Again, I didn't like this fire. This fire was lit over 4 years ago, and you have destroyed the credibility of the news media by your bias. And, of course, people like James Comey, Andrew McCabe, John Brennan destroyed the credibility of the FBI and our justice system as well. We have an enormous problem in this country. It's unsustainable, and the only way you solve it is with information and transparency and hearings and investigations.
So
it's not quackery, it's not conspiracy theory.
Then why didn't you hold hearings about the 9/11 truthers? There's plenty of people who thought 9/11 was an inside job. So what you're basically saying is that there's enough people who believe in conspiracy theory. If there's enough people who
I figured was the most relevant issue.
Are you going to do it? How about the moon landing?
Obviously,
are you going to hold
this
hearings
election,
on that?
There are all kinds of things that I'd like to hold hearings on. You have to kind of pick and choose based on priorities. Right now, we also have to acknowledge there are some real problems here. There's some issues that need to be explored and investigated.
You got to ask yourself, when you tell people a million times that something was stolen or something was fraud, and then they believe it, I think you need to look in the mirror and ask yourself why so many people
Chuck, you need to look at your mirror.
Now, that ending was perfect. When he said, if you want to know what's really going on here, if you want to know why people believe why they believe what they believe, look in the mirror. You are the one who did it. I love as well when he said, I mean, you create a circular argument that actually created this problem of your people believing that the election was not clear, was not safe, was not fair. It's your fault that people are starting to believe, or not starting, that people believe this. He said, look in the mirror. But more importantly, when the senator attempted to blame the mainstream media for a Trump bias, I mean, did he forget that the mainstream media gave Donald Trump over $2 billion worth of free airtime? If there's one thing the mainstream media is attempting to do, if only in a very small manner, is to correct for the mistake that they've made and started to call out Donald Trump for the realities of what he does, for the failure that he is, for the failure of all his policies. Finally, they are coming out and saying these things that Ron Johnson and these guys are attempting to do. Anything else? Chuck Todd really hit him up. When he attempted to hit the media, he got hit back. Then Chuck Todd got sarcastic and insulting with him. Should we have investigated the moon landing? Should we investigate all those crazy conspiracies that your people come up with, the 9/11 conspiracies? Should we have hearings on these as well? He made the senator look small. He brought up other Republican senators who said, what you guys are doing is crazy, Ben Sasse and others. This guy came in, he was brave enough to come in, but Chuck Todd made him leave a smaller man. And that is what you do with sycophants. That is what you do with enablers. That is what you do with people who continuously put our democracy at risk. You destroy their credibility because they have none. And after that is done, we can start to grow. We can start to come back. Good job on this one, Chuck Todd. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.